would like to call the February 4th Thousand Oaks Youth Commission meeting to order at 6:31. We will now have the Pledge of Allegiance led by Commissioner Hong.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We will now have the roll taken by Staff Coordinator.
Commissioner DeMint? Here. Commissioner Hatlen is absent. Commissioner Hong?
Here.
Commissioner Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Colhett is absent. Commissioner McMinn is absent. Commissioner Morrison? Here. Commissioner Rose?
Here.
Commissioner Sadwick?
Here.
Commissioner Satay?
Here.
Commissioner Slavenites?
Here.
Commissioner Wall?
Here.
Commissioner Young?
Here.
Adult Commissioner Martinez?
Here.
And Adult Commissioner Petrus?
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I would like to ask Commissioner Young to introduce the public comment section of our meeting.
This is the time in our meeting when we invite members of the public to state their concerns about youth-related issues in our city or to present items for commission consideration. Are there any members of the public who would like to speak at this time? There being none, we'll move on.
Thank you. I would now like to ask Commissioner DeMint to introduce our guest speakers.
This week we have Mark Watkins, and he received his undergraduate degree in civil engineering from California State University at Chico, his master's public administration from California State University of Northridge, and completed the program for senior executives in state and local government at the Kennedy School of Government at Harvard University. Mr. Watkins is a registered civil engineer in California and is the public works director for the city of Thousand Oaks. He's qualified to speak before the Youth Commission because A, he was once a youth, and B, he has 3 daughters. So here to talk to us about public works is Mark Watkins.
Thank you, Lindsay, and members of the Youth Commission, members of the public that are here. I was asked to come and talk just in general about public works, kind of who we are and what we do, and so I'll go through that, and I'll start just a little bit of history of public works, but I need a couple of volunteers. You guys maybe help me out here real quick? Okay, that's okay. You can stay right there. I'm going to hand you these cups. You know how to make noises like a horse? Okay. Any more training? Okay. See, together and then apart a little bit. Okay, very good. Ready? Horse noise. Very nice. Okay. Now, picture yourself riding on a covered wagon into the Canal Valley about 100 years ago. And there's nothing here. And yet you find this beautiful valley and you decide you're going to stay. This is where you're going to stop your wagon train and make camp. And so what's one of the first things you're going to look for when you look for a place to set up and homestead? Water. Not a bad decision, right? So you're going to find yourself a place near water, because if you're going to live, you have to have a water supply and a water source. And then after you've got that water supply, you're here for a little bit longer and your needs grow, and you're going to want something also for wastewater. And so you're going to dig a privy or an outhouse or something, hopefully far away from your water supply, and now you've established a homestead. And then after a period of time, you're going to want to visit your neighbors or maybe be able to come and go, and so trails evolve, and you've got a system of trails that are out there. And then after a period of time, the trails are muddy, you have to go through the creek to get somewhere, and so you start to put some gravel down on those roads, maybe build a few bridges, and you start to establish a transportation system. And then after a while, you've got water, and you've got sewer, you've got a transportation system, and as your road system gets to be more sophisticated, a storm drain system evolves, because now you're starting to build roadways up and you have to convey stormwater, so you've got a safe way to get around all the time. And then as you start to become very wealthy, because you've established yourself in this beautiful community, you start planting a few trees along the sides of the roadways, making things prettier, developing landscaping, and things get nicer and nicer and nicer. Well, all those foundations of a city, water, wastewater, storm drains, streets, bridges, traffic signals, that is public works. That's what we do. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, you can keep the cups, too. So that's public works. That's really the foundation. What we call the foundation of the city is all those basic services that people rely on pretty much every day. So every morning when you turn the faucet, the water comes out, right? Has it ever not come out? You live in Thousand Oaks? Okay. Had you paid your water bill? Okay, that's an important piece too. But in general, you've come to rely on these things, and you really don't think about them. They just kind of happen every day. And that's the good and the bad for us public works folks, is that people don't think about us too often, because in our way of thinking, we have gotten so good at what we do that you don't have to worry about it. The water is always safe to drink. The wastewater always goes away. You don't have to keep it in your house. The trash gets picked up once a week. The roads are clean. The roads are swept. There's no potholes in this town even. So that's the way we look at public works. So let me just kind of run through a few of those. I've only got one slide that has like numbers and things on it. The rest of them are mostly pictures, so we'll take it easy. But public works within this city, we're over 200 employees. There's almost 600 employees citywide, so we are by far the largest department. We've got an annual operating budget of around $60 million, a capital improvement budget that is around $20 to $30 million. That's where we're replacing things, pipelines, storm drains, a lot of work at the wastewater plant. And then we comprise all the operations that I talked about. So streets, storm drains, landscaping. We also do emergency preparedness and response. And so immediately people think about police and fire. Most events also involve public works. So if you think about a big fire, from the public works guy's perspective, the fire department comes in and they put out the fire. After that, we own it. We go out, we reseed, we do sandbagging, we're building temporary detention basins. We're monitoring those fire areas for years to make sure that there's no mud flows, no debris flows, that type of thing. We do all the traffic signals. We operate the wastewater treatment plant, all the recycling programs. As you came in, you might have noticed there's a bunch of little handouts you can give away by the door. Please help yourself. But a lot of the items I brought are to encourage recycling. So we've got old things that are turned into new things again, and you can take some of those with you. We also do transportation, buses, transit programs, engineering, all that kind of stuff. Our municipal service center is out in the Rancho Conejo area at the end of Rancho Conejo Boulevard. We've got about a little over 100 employees out there. This is kind of a typical view from a water tank, except for the fat guy in the top there. But most of our water tanks, this is what you see when you're in a water tank. We've got 16 water reservoirs sitting up and around the city. The water reservoirs are typically sitting up high so that all the water that you get is coming to you via gravity. So we pump up to those reservoirs, and then the water flows to you via gravity. We, in addition to those reservoirs, we've got about 200 miles of water lines, about 7,000 valves, 2,000 fire hydrants. And that's the way public works guys think. You're thinking about the numbers, because every valve you have, you've got to turn it every now and then to make sure it works. Every hydrant you've got to turn it every now and then. You've got to paint it every now and then. So really, we're an operations department. The streets in Thousand Oaks tend to be beautiful streets, and we're very proud of that. The landscaping along the streets is very nice. Try to provide an environment that's very much different than you get along the freeway. So not to pick on any of the sister agencies, but as you drive along, say, the 23 freeway now, it's very stark. You've got walls. You've got a wide median. City streets tend to be very different. We try to build medians, try to have buffers, setbacks, a lot of landscaping along there. It's one of the things that really makes Thousand Oaks stand out, and a lot different than a lot of other communities. If you're seeing guys out in the street, that's a public works guy. So this happens to be a guy from our water division crew. But we're the ones that are out. Sometimes you probably think bad things about us because you see that we've got a lane closed, we've got traffic control out there, we're slowing things down. But we look at a street a lot different than you. It's not just a street. I'll talk about that a little bit more. But it's really a right-of-way. There's a lot of stuff out in the street. So this is an old picture. This is actually New York City, and kind of gives a sense of the way a public works person looks at a street. Because underneath the street, you've got water lines, wastewater lines, storm drains, cable, gas, electric. Sometimes you got oil. All these things are running underneath there, and that's the other responsibility we have, is to figure out where those go, how they interconnect, because not only are those lines running up and down the street, but then there's lines running laterally to every single one of your houses, every single business, and everything else out there. So we really think of the street, if you can look at it this way, it's kind of a three-dimensional type of thoroughfare. So above, you've got trees and street lights, traffic signals. At the grade level is what everybody's used to seeing, which is where all the cars operate. And then down below it, you've got all these different utilities that are out there. And tracking those things, figuring out where they go, sizing them, keeping track of where they are is a large part of what we do. Now I'm going to show you a quick video of a sewer cleaning project. I wasn't going to show this, but Francine insisted. So, yeah. Full screen. Now this is part of the ongoing operation and maintenance. The enemy to a sewer line is grease, or we call fog, fats, oils, and grease. Those things go down and actually coagulate and build up and build a big old plug in a sewer line, which is what you're just seeing. What our guys do constantly is they run this high-speed, high-pressure water cleaner through here. And this is actually a very nice camera that we've got that we can run inside now and check all these things out. And down you go. They clean it out, and once they're done, everything looks like new again. Let me show that again. Okay. Okay. Thus, that was a good thing. And then this next one is just a little piece of technology we've been using. This is our stormwater master plan. And what this is, these are all the sub-watershed areas, the blue lines. So the blue lines are running along ridges. That's the Civic Arts Plaza. As you kind of pan back, you're up in the Lake Sherwood area. Then you're looking down across Westlake. And all those red lines that you see, those are the actual waterways. So those are creeks, streams, storm drains. And then all those blue areas are what we call sub-watersheds. Those are areas that contain water. We can identify and quantify the flow that comes out of those, and that's how we size the storm drain, size the downstream creeks. That's Bard Reservoir up off of Olson Road. And then as you come around, you're looking down. You'll be coming up on Cal Lutheran University. You're kind of along the northern end of the town. As you cross over the Conejo and the 101, then we'll kind of come over into the Rancho Conejo area. That's our maintenance service yard right at the top of the screen. And again, you can see now we're down at Hill Canyon. That's our wastewater treatment plant. All the water in the city, both stormwater and wastewater, flows out down through the Conejo Creek there and down into the Arroyo Santa Rosa. As you come over Conejo Mountain into Dos Vientos, you can see kind of some of the newer areas there, and some of those areas on this aerial are still graded. And then there's a whole new watershed. If you're looking close, you can see that there's some really big detention basins in there that help to control those storm flows. As that water flows down back into that same watershed again. That's the big vacant parcel on the 101 right at Borchard and 101. Some people refer to that as kind of a wetlands area. And you got the Oaks Mall and the Los Robles Golf Course up on your right-hand side here. And all of these areas, again, comprise kind of their distinct little drainage areas where we look at the flow that's coming off. And then we're back at the Civic Arts Plaza. So just a few pictures of a few of the things we do. Some of the kind of ancillary things we do. We work on a lot of utility undergrounding projects. So there's kind of the before and after on the left, trying to get all those utility lines underground. Again, before and after on the left. We do these on our own. We do these with developers, city putting money in, any kind of number of ways you can try to get some of those projects done. Moore Park Road was one of the bigger projects we did just a couple of years ago. And it was really dramatic. It was from Wilbur all the way up to Gainesboro, and once those power lines are gone, you really don't know what's missing, but it certainly looks better. We also operate all the transit buses. So here's Thousand Oaks Transit. We run 6 buses on 4 different routes throughout the town. We also run the dollar ride system, trying to promote the use of alternative fuel vehicles. All of our buses run on compressed natural gas. Of the city's fleet, we got about a third of our vehicles now on alternative fuels. So we run compressed natural gas, we run hybrids, we run some electric vehicles. We've tried biodiesel. But to the extent we can, everything that we buy is an alternative fuel. This is the transportation center. We just finished this building. This is on Rancho Road, just south of the 101 freeway. This is the transportation hub where all our buses kind of pulse in and out of. This is where LA DOT bus, Metro bus, the Vista buses all meet at the transportation center. We built this building. It was just christened in October. This is the first LEED certified building in Ventura County. And LEED is the new green building standard. That's leadership in environmentally efficient design. And so we're the first certified building in the county. We're very proud of that. It's quite a distinction, especially since the transportation center really by itself is by its very nature an environmental building, because it's promoting the use of both carpooling and alternative fuels and sharing rides. Really pretty building. That's just a nice picture on the inside. We've got a gentleman at our wastewater plant, Steve Brogy, who took most of these pictures. Very artistic. I asked him just to go run around town, take some good shots, and this is what he came back with. This is just one of the bike racks. I just threw this one up. This sits next to a number of the bus shelters around town. We picked out a whole bunch of different bike racks, but in essence, the reason I put that up there was everything that we try to do is we try to do it just a little bit different, a little bit nicer, rather than just your basic looking bike rack. Come up with some fun looking stuff. And that's really the challenge of all the folks in our department. And then the next few pictures are going to be our wastewater treatment plant. And the reason I included a few of those is that the wastewater treatment plant in this city and in most cities is the very most expensive facility that the city owns. And so you're sitting in this big, beautiful building that the city spent about $65 million on 15 years ago to build, and yet the cost of building a wastewater treatment plant dwarfs that. And so with almost every city, their biggest asset is a wastewater plant. And again, they operate well enough that most people don't think about it, but it's something that we staff 24 hours a day. So it doesn't matter whether it's your birthday or Christmas. If it's your shift, you're working. So it's staffed 365 days a year. It is a world quality plant. And again, a lot of the stuff that's done down there, just to show again a few shots. All that purple pipe is what we call plant water or reclaimed water. So that's all water that gets reused. Your city sells 100% of its reclaimed water. It's all reused downstream by other users, so there's no waste involved. Just a couple of pictures at night, because Steve's an artistic guy who took these shots, but these are clarifiers. Just a deep well pit, aeration basins. And then a couple of shots of our solar panels. We undertook a project a couple of years ago to do what we called an energy management program. So we built about 500 kilowatts of solar and 500 kilowatts of cogeneration using methane gas. And so these pictures of the solar are the solar panels down at our wastewater treatment plant. These track the sun, so they follow the sun throughout the day. This was the largest and only articulating plant in Southern California when it was built, and it's been in operation for about 2 years. We generate about half the power when the sun is shining from these and about half the power from our cogeneration. And so with the plant down there that uses about a megawatt of power, we are 100% off the grid on a sunny day. So that's really cool. We actually spin the meter backwards at times, generating all our own power. So here's a picture here, nice kind of black and white picture. Anybody know where this picture might be or where this picture was taken in Thousand Oaks? Well, of course, it's at the wastewater treatment plant. That's what I'm talking about here, right? Okay. So we'll do the color picture. We've got our little thing. But at the far end of our plant, we actually built a wetlands also. So we built about a 7-acre wetlands down there. That was a mitigation for some other construction we did. A lot of bird watchers come down in there, and we actually host quite a few meetings from people from other agencies that come and use the plant. And so really, from our perspective, we try to turn a wastewater plant, which is something that people don't want to think about, it really into a community asset. So down in this plant now, we've got renewable energy resources, so we're generating our own power with solar. We've got a wetlands down there. We've got about a 7-acre wetlands, all kinds of birds. The Audubon Society comes down and does bird counts. A lot of stuff that goes on. It's really cool. Then I'm just going to run through just a few awards at the end just to kind of brag and let you know that you've got a public works department that you can be proud of. But this year we got named one of America's 50 greenest cities. This was Popular Science Magazine. They do a sampling throughout, and they come up with their own rating criteria, so this wasn't an award that we applied for. This was just something that they kind of bestowed upon us. And that wetlands I showed you got the APWA Project of the Year award a few years ago. That's an award that's international. It's all of North America, and we got the Project of the Year award in the environmental category for that. We've gotten the Clean Water Agency's Gold Award for no discharge violations. We just got named the 2008 Bicycle Friendly Community from the League of American Bicyclists. They just actually gave us this at the last council meeting. And again, that was one of those that they sought us out because they'd heard about all the different things we were doing to be more bicycle friendly, and bestowed that one upon us. We got the League of California Cities Award. We've gotten, just in 2008, we got an award from the California Integrated Waste Management Board for asphalt rubber asphalt rubber hot mix recycling. We actually have recycled about 1.4 million car tires within this town. So whenever you see us out paving a street, car tires are ground up. That ground up rubber, which looks kind of like coffee grounds, is added back into the asphalt and it goes right back into the streets. So the rule of thumb is that there's one car tire produced for every person per year. So we've got a population here of about 130,000. That means that this community generates about 130,000 used tires per year, but we actually recycle about 150,000 of them into our streets. So we're literally a net importer of used car tires, which is, again, great. We try to be very responsible with how we go about doing our work. And again, just a few others: Clean Water Act, ASC, Cal EPA, US EPA. And I'll end on this slide, because this is one we're very proud of also, but we also had the 2008 hardest worker in Ventura County. This was Francine Spriegel from our Community and Cultural Services Department. And while she's not in Public Works, we're still very proud of her. And then year after year after year, again, the city's named one of the safest cities, and that's something we're very proud of also. So with that, I am more than happy to answer any questions that you might have about Public Works. Okay. I was prepared for this. There we go.
What do you think is the hardest part about your job?
Well, within Public Works, we laugh. The worst part about Public Works is the public. But we believe we've set a very high standard. And so generally speaking, if somebody calls and they say, hey, there's a tree limb down, or there's a pothole filled, or there's graffiti, we'll respond within 24, 48 hours. So we've got a very high standard that we try to meet, and we try to be extremely responsive. So that's probably the hardest, is just really getting out there and being as responsive as we can with every single call we get. Yes, sir. I can hand you this.
There you go. I was just wondering, there's a lot of talk about biodiesel and use like that, and it seems like you've used quite a few alternative energies. I was just wondering what your success with some of them were, like biodiesel. I don't know if you used ethanol.
Sure. Yeah, we use biodiesel. Yeah, the question is alternative fuels. The problem with alternative fuels is the industry doesn't know where it's going. And so we invested very heavily, for example, in electric vehicles. We had the Saturn EV1. We tried out minivans, pickup trucks, all these electric vehicles. We put a lot of electric vehicle charging stations all over town. And now they're sitting there empty because electric vehicles kind of went away. So then we invested very heavily in compressed natural gas. So all of our large street sweepers, all of our buses, a lot of our pickup trucks for a while, sedans were compressed natural gas. We built a private, we've got our own compressed natural gas filling station, and we built one that the public could use to try to promote others like UPS and others are doing local deliveries to convert their vehicles. And now compressed natural gas, it's hard to buy the vehicles. So we can still get the large vehicles, but we can't get pickup trucks anymore, and the only sedan you can get is a Honda Civic. So we're buying Honda Civics for sedans because they use that. But like I said, it's hard for somebody who runs a fleet because the industry doesn't know where it's going. So right now we're buying a whole bunch of hybrids because that's what the industry is producing. So we've got a whole bunch of hybrids. But they don't know where they're going to go. Hydrogen's being talked about. These other hybrids that are more efficient are plug-in hybrids they're talking about. It's hard for a fleet manager because, like I say, it's an industry that's not sure where it's going, but we're trying them. We'll be out there. And biodiesel, we've had some success. We've used it, actually, we're using some now at the service center in a fairly small concentration. We used it at larger concentrations, and it had some success and some difficulties. Yes, sir.
The swamp area that you said at the plant.
Wetlands.
The wetlands.
Thank
yes.
you.
Thank you. Is that for? I was just confused. Is that for like the sewage, or is that like just kind of an attraction? Is it like open to the public, or?
It is open to the public. It's at the kind of at the bottom end of Wildwood Park. You can walk up in there. And the water that is in that, it's a wetlands area, and it's really wonderful. It's a classic. If you build it, they will come. But when through our wastewater treatment plant, we've got a big channel. All the water, that's part of the reason I showed you that area, all the water from the city of Thousand Oaks naturally drains right there. So that was the right place to put a treatment plant because all of your gravity pipelines would end up there. But since we had that big channel through there, we had to construct that channel out of a lot of rock. And so since we impacted natural wetlands area, we had to create another wetlands to make up for it. And so what we do is we take about 1 million gallons a day out of the creek, and then it flows, kind of serpentines through that wetlands area and goes back into the creek. So it's creek water, but our wastewater plant discharges upstream. So it's creek water that just kind of is diverted through there and back in. And there's lots of birds, turtles, fish. We didn't plant it with anything. All these species just naturally find their way there.
Okay, thank you.
Love to have you come see it.
Yeah.
When you were doing with the telephone poles, when you were taking those down, where did you put them when you were done with the construction? And what did you do with them?
Good question. Do you mean the poles themselves or the wires?
Both.
Okay.
And also, how does the electricity flow through it now, or how do you use those still?
Okay. Well, the telephone poles, historically, all those were above grade. So they put all the lines up above. And on those, you've got telephone, cable, and electric. So you got the three utilities that are up there. In the newer neighborhoods, if you go out to the newer neighborhoods, you won't see those. They're already put underground. So they put them underground in conduit, which is basically a smaller pipe, say a 4-inch pipe, something along those lines. And then they can run all of the wires through those. And there's a separate one for cable, separate one for TV, and separate ones for electrical. And so when you underground the overhead ones, the first step is you trench up the street. So you're all happy to see us out in the street again. So we've got traffic control, we've got plates, and we're putting all these conduits in the street. And then you pull all new wire, then you pull all new wire to the houses and the businesses. Then you can cut the old wires, take all the old wires off the poles, and chop the poles down. So everything ends up underground. That's a good question.
Are there any major events you hold for the public at the wetlands you built?
Great question. The biggest event we hold is during Public Works Week every year. We actually hold that out at our Rancho Conejo Municipal Service Center. We get mostly elementary school kids, and I think we get, you guys remember, 2,500, 3,000 kids come through. Has anybody come through during Public Works Week? Somebody raise your hand just to make me happy. Oh, thank you. Okay, there we go. Thank you. But that's probably the biggest event. And at the wetlands, it's not really configured for a large group. It's kind of a meandering around. So people come, they bird watch, meander around there a bit, but it's not a big organized event.
And are there any rare birds you can find in that area?
You know, they find, I think there's 60 or 80 different species of birds. Some beautiful large cranes and herons and things. I don't know if any of them are rare or endangered. I know there is an endangered pond turtle, so one of the turtles that comes up in there is an endangered species. That's part of the reason we built it.
Thank you.
What degrees and general requirements are required to get your job?
Public Works directors typically have a civil engineering background. So civil engineers, and again, the way I describe civil engineers is kind of everything outdoors. So civil engineer does roads and bridges, structural work on buildings, pipelines, pump stations, water tanks, everything kind of outdoors is civil engineering. So in other words, another way to describe it, civil engineers build targets. So, and then mechanical engineers build the weapons that, okay. And so generally speaking, Public Works is you're going to have a background in civil engineering. Oftentimes, you're going to end up with a master's in public administration or something to kind of round out that technical degree.
Are there any major events that the Public Works Committee of Thousand Oaks is working on currently?
We're very involved in Arbor Earth Day. So the Arbor Earth Day that's coming up, we'll be involved in. And then I think March is Public Works Week, and then April, Arbor Earth Day. Where's Public Works Week in May? May is Public Works Week. And then we do, as far as events, we do a household hazardous waste event every month. We do we attend a lot of the other events that people have out there, set up booths, talk about stormwater quality, water conservation, alternative fuel vehicles, beneficial insects, all that kind of stuff.
You mentioned that the 7 acres were made in mitigation banking because you destroyed the other wetlands.
Yes.
Where were they destroyed and why?
Right through, well, actually, there's 3 different projects. One was right through the wastewater treatment plant itself, where there was a storm channel that came through. So we excavated that channel out and armored it with rock. And so that's how we impacted those. Now, since then, you would never know it because we planted willows and things, and so it's all grown back up. The second project was the Borchard and 101 interchange. So if you remember, a few years ago, we expanded the Borchard and 101 interchange, and we had to construct into the Arroyo Conejo channel on that one. And then the final one was a big wastewater pipeline that came down. Most of our wastewater lines run in a channel, which makes sense from a gravity perspective, but you're always having to get down in the channel to fix them or something. And so we had to do some mitigation. We actually mitigated way more than we needed. But because we had the area and we had the room, we went ahead and built this whole 7-acre wetland so that we're mitigated for any future projects we might do. Kind of covered that way.
What the children see during Public Works Week?
Oh, love to. Thank you. When the kids come out to Public Works Week, what we do is we set up kind of little mini Public Works stations that represent the major items of work we do. And so, for example, I showed that sewer video, and what they've got the big van out there that has all the cameras. So we're not showing those videos to all the kids necessarily, but we've got all the major Public Works equipment. So the other event, speaking of which, there's an event we do every year called Touch a Truck, and lots of kids just love the big equipment. And so we set up that. We set up our Vactor truck, which is literally like a giant vacuum. We set up the aerial lifts, which are the big lifts that take the guys up into the area to trim the trees. So they show them how those work. We've got all the equipment laying out there. So there's chainsaws, there's backhoes. They run a big roller over aluminum cans to crush aluminum cans. We set up a mock crosswalk, so we actually teach the kids the proper way to use a crosswalk, what all the symbols mean. We've got a plastic piece of pipe where we can show how the cleaning goes through the pipe, because it's clear plastic, so you can actually see things running through the pipes. And we've got all the beneficial insects out there, so they talk about the insect program that we do, trying to reduce the amount of pesticides. So basically kind of all the major areas of Public Works has a station that kind of describes those. We built a little mock storm drain, and the kids can crawl down through the storm drain, trying to understand how the water gets into the storm drain and where it goes and why it's so important to keep the pollutants and things like that out. Yes, sir.
How do you find out when these events are occurring?
Everything, absolutely everything's on the city's website. So the city's website is toaks.org. And anytime you check that website, there's a calendar on there, and it features all those events and all the other events that the city's up to. Lots of information on there. Any other questions? So I've got 2 awards here at the end, but I wanted to see kind of who was listening. So there's all these goodies over by the door. There's rulers, there's keychains, there's little bookmarks that are made out of old PC boards, and there's a bunch of other handouts and things about solar and whatever. But I brought 2 bags that have, you get not only the bag, which is always nice. I think there's a coffee mug in there. There's, just basically kind of a sampling of all the stuff we hand out. But I got to find out who's been really paying attention. And the questions I have in mind, I'm not so sure that any of you are paying attention. But there's a few ringers in the group, so. Okay.
Yeah, they don't count.
We'll start out easy. Okay, let's see. I was talking about water earlier, and I mentioned how many water reservoirs are in town. Anybody pay attention to how many water reservoirs we have? Excellent. Excellent. 16 reservoirs. There we go. Congratulations. Okay, it'll get easier now. I talked about grinding up car tires. How many car tires have we ground up total? 150,000 a year. How many total? Do you remember the total number? Well, it'd be more than the annual. Okay.
Was it 1.3 million?
1.3 million. There you go. Excellent. You guys, we're paying attention. This is fabulous. Congratulations. All right. Is there any other questions? That's all I had. Well, thank you for the opportunity. It's fun for me to, anytime I can get a captive audience to listen about Public Works, I'll take that opportunity. So thank you all.
Thank you very much for coming.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner DeMint, and thank you again, Mr. Watkins, so much for coming. I would now like to turn the meeting over to Vice Chair Commissioner Johnson.
The next portion of our meeting consists of school and liaison reports. Will Commissioner Sauté introduce the ASG-ASB portion of our meeting?
All right, we have a lot of speakers today. So first we have Natalie Snyder from Kalina Middle School. Please come to the stand.
Hello, I'm Natalie Snyder, and I'm the Publicity Director at Kalina Middle School. And this week, on Friday, we're having the Class of the Year competition, where we're going to dress up 50% in either red, white, or pink to represent Valentine's Day. We're also going to have the Glimmer of Hollywood dance for 8th and 7th graders, and the social is going to be the same day for the same. We're also continuing with our Teen Center soccer tryouts, where there will be games at the Thousand Oaks Teen Center. Also, we added new benches, gardens, and big lockers to our campus. The students that support Kalina for the Jogathon will get rewarded with the big lockers through the 2nd to the 13th. We're hosting the Man and Food Drive, where students bring in a type of canned food. Also, we're hosting our talent show, and the fashion show will be placed later in spring. Thank you.
Are there any questions for her? All right, thank you. Next we have Caleb Mulick, Matt Stein, and Ariana Dermana. Please come to the stand.
Sequoia's 7th and 8th grade boys volleyball teams just started their seasons January 28th. The 7th grade team has 1 loss and 1 tie, and the 8th grade team has 2 ties. On the 28th, the 7th grade boys had a doubleheader. First, they played Redwood, to whom they lost. Then they tied to Los Cerritos. The 8th grade team played Los Cerritos and tied them as well. Tonight at 7 p.m., the 7th grade will play Sycamore Canyon, as well as the 8th grade at 7:45 p.m. at the Thousand Oaks Teen Center. I wish them good luck tonight. The 7th and 8th grade girls basketball also had their season opener on January 29th. The 7th grade team played Los Cerritos, losing, making them 0-1. The 8th grade girls played them as well, but beating Los Cerritos, thus making the 8th grade girls have 1 win and 1 loss. Tomorrow night, they will both be playing Sycamore Canyon, 7th grade at 6 p.m., 8th grade at 7 p.m. at the Thousand Oaks Teen Center. Sequoia's Cody, a.k.a. Class of the Year competition of Dodge Rocks finally came to an end on February 3rd. The results for all the classes, starting with 6th grade, is Team Yankees came in 2nd, and Team Tigers was crowned 6th grade 2009 champion. For 7th grade, Mr. Geider's class came in 2nd, and Mrs. Hempel's class took home the gold. Finally, for 8th grade, Miss Amenta's class took 2nd, and Miss Staude's class took the title of 8th grade 2009 champion back to their class. Sequoia's January dance/social themed Party Like a Rock Star was held on January 30th. The 6th grade social was held from 3:15 to 4:30, and the 7th to 8th grade dance was held from 6 to 8. A cool attraction was the game Rock Band and Guitar Hero World Tour, and dance goers could play the game while it was being projected onto a giant screen. Thank you.
This Friday, February 6th, 7 to 9, we're having our annual talent show. It is a technology booster fundraiser for our computers, and also we're having a Cody dress up for Valentine's Day on February 11th for Cody points. You have to wear pink, red, and white, and also we're having a Sequoia musical, The Wiz. It's going to be a live band on the last weekend of March and the first weekend of April, evenings and the Sunday matinee. Thank you.
Sequoia's Mana Food Drive is going to start on February 9th and will go to the 19th. Students will bring canned food to their homeroom teacher. All foods will need to be non-perishable. Also, proteins are needed, such as peanut butter and beans. Sequoia is hoping to feed many hungry people. Sequoia is offering a new program to the students. It is called Extreme Careers. Students will get to take a bus after. Students will stay at Sequoia every Thursday. It starts on February 19th and ends on April 9th. There's a parent information night and many hands-on workshops. Snacks will be provided, and kids will learn about different careers paths they might take. One extra thing about this is that it's all free. You don't have to pay for transportation to workshops at the school. Also, there's a week-long summer camp that is also free. Sequoia is the only school in the Conejo Valley that gives this program. Spots are limited, and it is first come, first served, so reserve your spots today. Last but not least is Sequoia's first ever Sequoia Idol. This is based on the famed TV show American Idol. Our auditions were yesterday, February 3rd. The show is on February 27th in the auditorium at 3:15. It also is a $3 admission, so make sure you come to see our awesome singers. Thank you.
Are there any questions for them? All right, thank you very much. Next, we have Evan Wood from Thousand Oaks High School.
I'm not going to be quite as thorough as you guys are, but well, first of all, we have a rally coming up on April 9th. We just decided our theme is going to be called Shuffle Through Time. It's our Somewhere in Time rally, so we're going to have different eras. It's kind of iPod related. Tonight, our basketball team is playing Calabasas, so good luck to them. Our science for AP test just began, so I guess everybody has May to look forward to. And we're also doing a few community service and charity projects at the moment. We have a blood drive coming up. We're we're using American Red Cross. Our turnout was really good last time, so it should be even better this time. We have staff for about 200 people, I think. Let's see here. We're playing a few benefit concerts in spring, so hopefully that should go well. We have a beach cleanup on February 21st at Venice Beach. That should be fun. And right now we're doing a Pennies for Patients drive to help support leukemia research and treatment. Thank you.
Any questions for Evan? All right, there being none, thank you very much. And lastly, we have Hannah Barrett from Westlake High School.
We have a Valentine's Day lunch rally next Thursday, February 12th. Wear red, pink, and white for spirit points. Second semester CSF registration is from February 17th to the 23rd in room 43W at lunch. Bring the original copy of your report card, your registration forms, and $5 in cash or a check payable to Westlake High School. For registration forms, please visit csf.whsmath.org. Our Winter Showcase Rally, titled Rallywood, is on Friday, February 20th. Wear your class colors and come support your class's talent act. Poster making days for the rally are next week from 3 to 5 p.m. in the ASG room. Seniors are on Monday, juniors Tuesday, sophomores Wednesday, and freshmen Thursday. Also, good luck to our girls soccer team against Thousand Oaks this Saturday, and good luck to our mock trial team at the county competition at the end of February.
Any questions for Hannah? All right, thank you very much to all of our speakers.
Thank you to those representatives who came out to make reports for your schools. We encourage all ASB ASGs to send your representatives each month. Now we have the Teen Center Advisory Council. Will Commissioner McMinn present this item?
All right, we all had a great time at the MERS concert on February 24th. The groups that brought in 550 teams were MERS, Crawdad, Diamond, Curricula, and DJ Bling. So congratulations to all them for coming on and putting on a great show. We have the Valentine's Day dance coming up on Saturday, February 7th. Doors open at 7 p.m. and there's $10 admission fee. It's featuring a live DJ, free pizza and soda, an awesome light show, Teen Center Text Live, music videos, airbrush tattoos, group and couple photos, and Golden Spoon yogurt, which is really good, so you should all come out to that. And that's what's going on at the fabulous Thousand Oaks Teen Center.
Thank you, Commissioners. I now turn the meeting back to Chair Morrison.
Thank you. We're now going to move to project reports, and our first project is the therapeutic dance, so I would like to ask Commissioner Wall to give this report.
Okay, our annual therapeutic dance is March 21st from 6 to 9:30. And we have two big work parties coming up in March that we really need some help with volunteers. The first one is March 7th at 8:30 in the morning at the Old Meadow Center, and that will go probably into the early afternoon, and we're just building sets for that. And then the second work party is March 21st at 8:30 in the morning again, and that's at the Teen Center, and that's setting up all the decorations for the dance, which will be that same night. So if you would like to volunteer for any of these work parties, you can email youthcommission@toaks.org. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I would now like to ask Commissioner McMinn to give us the report on Rock the Oaks.
All right, Rock the Oaks Night, it's coming together there nicely. We now have a brand new poster up, which you can see. The four bands playing will be Violet Hour, David Pramick, Jetstream, and Jason Sharp. So if TOTV could bring up the PowerPoint. Thank you. The show's going to be on February 27th at 7:30 p.m. Tickets are $15. They're on sale now at the box office of the Civic Arts Plaza, www.ticketmaster.com, or you can call 805-583-8700. That's 805-583-8700. For more information, call 449-2743 or email youthcommission@toaks.org.
Violet Hour will be one of our bands. They're a slightly younger band. They've recently played at venues such as the Teen Center Battle of the Bands and at Rock City, where they set a new attendance record, so that's really cool. We're very excited to have them. They're bringing a lot of young, youthful energy to the concert, and they've said to us that like their favorite aspect of playing their music is seeing their fans and seeing how they react to the music, and they're just a real good bunch of kids, so.
David Pramick is a lead band singer turned solo artist. Last year, he came to Rock the Oaks as the lead singer of the band titled Big Brother, but this year he returns as a one-man band. He's talented on a variety of instruments, including the piano, guitar, and even the ukulele. He has a soothing classical jazz style and terrific self-written lyrics, and these foreshadow great things for David in the future.
Jetstream is our next band with 4 talented players who have opened for American Idol finalist Bo Bice and won the 2007 U.S. Global Battle of the Bands. Even though this amazing rock band is climbing their way to the top, it is just the beginning for them.
Jason Sharp and his band members have been playing as a full band for 2 years. They have recently played with Colby Calais and Jason Reeves in Ventura, and they have a very lively, upbeat sound with a clear passion for performing.
Thank you. Could TOTV please bring up their promotional video? Now I turn the meeting back to Chair Morrison.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner McMahon. The next program we have is public information and guest speakers. Will Commissioner DeMint tell us about this category?
Next month, we have a speaker from the Thousand Oaks Library coming to talk to us. And next month, so in April or May, we want to try to get the fire department to do a presentation, and I was wondering what the other commissioners thought about that possibility. Sounds good? Okay, I'll contact them. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. And as we come to the close of our meeting, I would like to ask Commissioner Rose. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, volunteer newsletter, yes, we will have a report continued at next meeting. So with that said, I would now like to ask Commissioner Rose to introduce commissioner comments.
Are there any commissioner comments at this time? Commissioner McMinn?
I'd like to correct my statement for the Teen Center report. The MERS concert was on January 24th, not February 24th. Also, I'd like to congratulate the JV Thousand Oaks High School wrestling team that just beat Newberry a few minutes ago, and good luck to the varsity team that's wrestling now.
Commissioner Sklavenitis?
I'd like to congratulate our boys volleyball teams, and they're doing great in the Teen Center League. And I would also like to say hello to my friend Sarah, who is currently supporting the Youth Commission and watching our meeting.
Any more?
I want to say happy birthday to my grandma. Her birthday is February 7th. So happy birthday, Grandma.
Commissioner Sklavenitis?
I would also like to say happy birthday to my friend Jenny Mason. Happy 14th birthday.
Alright, and I have one. I just want to say hi to my family because I know they're watching, because they wanted a prize from our Public Works Department, and I didn't get them one, so I'm sorry. But, Commissioner Sadwick?
I would like to thank my environmental science teacher, Mr. Holloway, for teaching me everything that our Public Works Director, Mark Watkins, talked about.
Nice. Okay, any more? Alright, there being no more, I turn it back to the chair.
Okay, if you would like any information about the Youth Commission or have questions about agenda items discussed, please call 805-449-2743 or email us at youthcommission@toaks.org. And there being no further business before the Commission, the Youth Commission meeting is adjourned at 7:21.